Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to repair a water damaged wall. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you how I match the orange peel texture using a hopper and compressor. Let's do this. Alright, so I got called out to this project. They had a plumbing leak. The homeowners already removed the wet drywall. So I'm just going to square this up on the two ends where the drywall cut from the plumbers wasn't quite square. I'm going to use a 2x4 for that and a furring strip. Then I'll install the drywall, do some drywall finishing, and lastly spray an orange peel texture to match the existing. Alright, so I added a screw at every stud. That way we're not going to get a crack on the joint with drywall movement. I also added a 2x4 where I squared up the drywall. Alright, got all the drywall installed, squared up. Going to use a fiberglass mesh tape and setting type compound, which is a USG sheetrock, easy sand, 20-minute mud. Set up in 20 minutes, ready for another coat. Time to apply the 20-minute fast setting joint compound. I've already applied the fiberglass mesh tape to the two butt joints and the horizontal joints. I will be using a paper drywall tape to do the corner, and I'll show you how to do that coming up. What you want to do is just get the mud up on the seams. And we're going to come back by and smooth it out. What I like to do, since this is a repair and we're butting up against a painted surface, is do a little bit wider of a first coat than I normally would. That way the joint compound will dry on the painted surface a little faster. Anytime you're putting mud on a painted surface, it has to dry from the outside in as opposed on drywall where it dries from the inside out. So this is just a little speed up of the process of drying over the painted surface. I try and keep everything smooth so I don't have to do a lot of sanding before I texture. One more time, just filling up the seam, and then I'm going to come back and smooth it out. And then I like to concentrate the mud on one side of the knife or the other depending where I'm pulling. That way you're not leaving a bunch of mud all over, it's just where you need it. Fill those couple holes. Now I'm going to pull the butt joint. What you want to do is keep it pretty much concentrated on the fiberglass mesh tape and pull most of the mud off on the first coat when it comes to the butt joints. And actually this whole repairs a butt joint. I'll leave a link in the description on how to mix the 20-minute fast setting joint compound. When I'm pulling, I'm applying pressure to the bottom portion of the knife and lifting the top. That way I'm not leaving any knife marks. It's nice and smooth transitions. Want to just wipe the screw holes, wipe all the mud back off of them. The cleaner you work, the less sanding you're going to have to do. I like to use drywall paper tape for nice crisp corners. So I pre-folded the paper tape so it'd fit nice in the corner when I go to mud it. Whenever you're working with hot mud, you want to have all the prep done so you don't have to stop and do anything, or you run the risk of your joint compound setting up in your pan. You got about 15 minutes working time with the 20-minute mud. So I'm just taking my 12-inch knife and getting kind of a bead of mud on both sides of the corner. Then I'm going to take my 6-inch knife and just kind of smooth it out a little bit. You want to leave the joint compound though, so that you can bed the paper tape into the joint compound. So point the corner right in the center of the corner. Just kind of push it down lightly with your fingers. and then you want to kind of squeeze the joint compound out from underneath. You don't want to apply too much pressure. You just want to squeeze the mud out so you are bedding the tape. And I'm going to do one more coat over the edges. Get it nice and smooth, so the next coat I'm not going to have to do anything but put mud on it. Time for the second coat of 20-minute quick set mud. But first, I'm going to take my 12-inch knife and see where I need to add mud, if there's any humps or any dips. You can see where there's daylight, either from a hump or dip. Okay, see the daylight? That tells me it needs mud right there. What I do is pile it up right next to where I left off with the mud, because that's where the hump is going to be if you don't mud it right on a butt joint like this. Again, lifting on the right. Now I'll lift on the left. Okay, once again, you want to check, see where you need mud, if there's daylight or a hump. Add it to the right side of the joint. Now I'm going to add it to the left side. Come right up the middle. Want to keep it nice and tight, no ridges, smooth it out. That's why I use the 12-inch knife for the second coat. Needs a little bit of mud. Remember, I went a little wider on this on the first coat because of the painted surface. I needed this to be dry enough to do a second coat before lunch. That way I'll be able to spray the orange peel texture on it today and knock this job out in one day. I'll leave a link in the YouTube card above to a playlist where I show you how to do all kinds of drywall repairs. As you can see on this second coat, I'm making sure to cover all the joint compound with the second coat of 20-minute mud. That way it's all nice and smooth and it's going to dry really quick on top of this first coat. I'm only doing 2 coats of mud on this repair before I do the orange peel texture coming up. Alright, so you just want to add the mud just above where the seam is. Same at the bottom. Careful not to go into the other joint. It's a little tough working like this and trying to coat it all at the same time, but you don't have to wait on stuff to dry if you do it this way. Keep it tight, smooth it out. Kind of make it a game to where I try and not have to sand hardly anything before I texture. Hit the screw holes one more time. Keep those nice and tight. You don't want any ridges or lines. All right, there it is. Ready for orange peel texture. Okay, so I'm using a Graco hopper. You can get them at any of the big box stores or paint stores. And also a Bosch pancake compressor. It's just a small compressor, so you can use all the air out of it when you're spraying orange peel if you're doing too big of an area. I like to mix the joint compound to a pancake batter consistency. You want to be able to pour it out of the bucket into the hopper. So just thin it down with water until it's pourable. Then you want to turn your air pressure all the way up on your compressor to about 120 psi. And I like to start spraying all the smooth repaired areas first before I blend into the existing orange peel. Now you want to keep your hopper moving in a circular motion, and you don't want to stay in one place too long or it's going to pile up. Had to fill up a little more orange peel mix. Put the pressure all the way up on high. Keep that hopper moving in a circular motion. You want to get total coverage with this orange peel texture. Get it real good in the corner and then blend it out into the existing. I call it feathering. You want it to gradually go to nothing into the existing orange peel. All right, going to feather it out a little bit, all the way over to the door. Side note, I used a 0.31 mil plastic to cover the doors and windows. Check it out. See how the mix is just pouring out of the bucket? That's what you want. If it's too thick, you're going to get more of a knockdown texture. All right, going to finish this off. You always want to stop and look over the repaired area, see if you missed any spots or if it's a little thin in an area. Keep that circular motion going. You want to feather it out into the existing now. We're going to nothing. It's a gradual. Once the compressor starts running out of air, you don't want to keep spraying because it's going to be bigger blobs. You want to keep high pressure at all times. All right, there it is. The water damaged wall is repaired. I've applied the orange peel texture and also installed some new baseboards. Now it's up to the homeowners to prime and paint. I always recommend a Zinsser 123 for a primer and then your favorite flavor of paint. Let me know in the comments what kind of drywall repair you're working on or if you have any questions about this video. And if you're looking to step up your drywall texturing or painting game, be sure to hit that round icon in the middle of the screen now to keep up with all my latest videos. And if you have a friend that's a DIYer, be sure to share this video with them on Facebook or Twitter. Check out one of these videos down below.